Hi, it's Steffi from Steffi's Beads and Baubles. We're going to try something new. I'm going to be kind of upside down, but at least I'll be in frame because I put it where my hands go. So what I wanted to show you was this cute bracelet. And these are the most fun of anything you make, really. Even more fun than the regular charm bracelets in a lot of ways. And this I like because, like the charm bracelets, you can use all the beads that you don't normally use, like you're one of a kind. Like, look at this gorgeous bead here. It's got like an iridescent look. Here's a little pumpkin. Now these you can buy, I don't know if it's Hobby Lobby, if it's Michael's or Joann's, but it might be Joann's. But one of the stores sells these in a string. These are off of old bracelets, and I cannot tell you how many of these, 2 or 3 at least, that I have found of these particular, and they have them in the purple, and of course each one's slightly different, because right here is 2 of the bracelets. You got several, and then I've got purple. Oh yeah, here's a purple charm. And what I do when I decide to make one of these is, and you got to measure your wrist. And the best way to measure your wrist is to take a string, go around, and then lay it out over the ruler to see what size string comfortably. Now you want to give a little extra because now keep in mind, when you put this on your wrist, it doesn't lay flat. These beads, I'm going to open it up, these beads take up room. They don't lay, some of them lay flat, like if you use this kind of bead here, but see how these stand up. So you can't do a perfect tightness on your wrist. You've got to add a little bit of space for the actual beads. Okay, hold on. I'm still trying to get this camera to kind of behave for me here. Okay, so once you decide how long you need it, then you can start picking your beads. And then what I do is I simply string beads I'm interested in making into charms onto looped pins. Now, what is a loop pin? All right, you're going to go to, now I get mine at Hobby Lobby. Hobby Lobby sells them in their jewelry shop space. These are on sale at least half the month, it seems, at least a week a month. And they normally run $3.99, and I get them for 50% off, and I always stock up. And they have every kind of finding you could want. But they have the head pins, and these are the short loop pins, which actually would work better for this type of application, but I found these after I started the video. But you can buy these in long ones and short ones. So these are the head pins, which have a head on them to make a charm. Like this. They have a flat bottom, and you can make a charm. These are perfect for a charm bracelet or an earring. The looped heads are perfect for making a bracelet because they have a loop on one end. Now, if you want your loops to be perfect on both sides, because they're not going to be, one side's going to be a little off. I don't even try to make it perfect. I'm not going to lie to you. I used to try, and it's very hard to bend them. If you don't like that, you can nip the head off of a head pin like this if you truly want it to be perfect. And once in a while I do, but if you really do, you can nip the head off into your hand. Like, here, let me, I just threw I forgot to hold on like I always tell you to. And then you have a flat, there's no head, no loop. Then you can loop both sides. Then you can come on one side and loop like this. Just loop it around and bend it back. Whatever size loop you want to do. Then you can put, let's put a really pretty bead on there. These are a Chinese crystal faceted bead in a really cool, kind of a Moroccan shape. I love that shape. They make tile and all kinds of, and then you bend it back and you loop it around. And then I just kind of get part of the way over. And then this is when you have to be really careful. You have to hold on to it so it doesn't go flying into the carpet or onto the floor and then get into your feet. Anyway, however you want to do it. If you're really, really a perfectionist, and trust me, I can be. But I've learned that I don't need to be perfect. But a lot of times if I'm doing it to sell, I will do it this way. And I'll just nip off the end of the head pin and do it like this. But what you're going to do is you're going to make up a whole bunch of charms. And that's what I've done here. I made up some in oranges. There's the papers. This is glass. This is kind of a ceramic crystal. Here's a stone skull. Some more glass. One of those cute pumpkins I told you about. And all those unusual and different. They can be plastic like this and this. Glass like this. This is kind of a purpley iridescent. Here's the same pumpkin in a purple. You can do a candy corn, which can also be purchased. And I believe this is from Hobby Lobby or Michael's as well. This is off an old piece of jewelry. But I would be shocked if they didn't have stuff like that. So anyway, I just go through and I make all kinds of earrings up. Or charms up. I love to do the unusual beads, the one of a kind. Now these aren't one of a kind, but they're each a little different because this one has white swirling, that one doesn't. Some are bigger, some are smaller. This one has a little rhinestone in it, in black and orange. This is a stone bead with some glass on each end. If you hear any noise in the background, my husband's putting a new subfloor in our kitchen. And I'm kind of stuck in here, so a little noise seeps through the doors. And a black skull. So just make if you're going to make a few bracelets to sell, especially if you're doing these to sell, then I would actually buy the smaller ones too, because especially if you're using smaller beads. And these have a little bit larger hole, which is easier to match. But anyway, once you get them all made up, and like I said, you're just going to put them on a head pin. And I'm only going to show this once because there's really no need to. I do this in all my videos. But you're just going to bend it back. I bend it back slightly, loop it around like that. Before you grab it with the cutters, but before you cut, put your fingers on there so it doesn't go flying. I have a little pile of them over here, and then just loop it. And I like to try to tuck it in the hole of the bead if I can. Then I take my pliers and kind of flatten it out a little bit like that. Alright, now once you've got a whole bunch of them made up, and you figure out how long. Now this one's slightly about one bead too long for me. So I'm going to use this kind of as my template and make it one bead smaller. Now that's a big bead, so I'll go like a smaller bead smaller. And just kind of line up. Since I have one big bead already, I'm going to take a big bead. And then I love this one. It's a plastic. This came off of a necklace I had. I got one of these, beautiful orange, but I don't want it right next to the other orange, so I'll put it here. I love putting a black and white in my Halloween jewelry. I don't have a ton of them, and I like the stripe to go down. For some reason, when they go sideways, these are okay. These are kind of spooky looking. So those are fun, and I did make a charm out of that too. But when they go up and down, I've got a few like that. Let me see if I can find one in here. I mean, I have these. These are kind of cool though. But the small round ones, they just don't look at. Yeah, see here is. This was the candy corns. They just flew off of here. But these were Hildy and Joy. That's actually, Joanne sells the candy corns. And I do have a candy corn charm that I can put on here. Actually, I like the pumpkin, so I'm going to do the purple pumpkin on this one. And I've got a skull here that I can put down at the end. And I love this long orange one. Oh, here's a purple though, and that's kind of long, and I have an orange on that side and that side. Let's see, what else? Down here is orange. I'm trying to kind of match what I'm doing here a little bit, except I kind of didn't there. I could put another purple over here, and I do have one of these, so I could do that. But I want to do one less though, so I got to figure out which one I want to take off. So which one, or do I want to add or take off one of these? So I think this will give me the right length. And the way you can kind of figure it out is take your ruler, and you can lay your ruler out. Now pick up, sticking. Okay, you can take your ruler, And remember, you got your little sides. So you just put them on there and kind of slightly overlap them. Just slightly overlap them as if they were hooked. You see what I'm doing? See? Just slightly overlap them. And that should give you your length. And what else was I going to do? Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now, how long is this one? Let's see. This one's really long. This one goes... Now, I'm not counting the clasp here. So taking the clasp off. Yeah, this one goes 8.5 without the clasp. If you had the clasp, this is 9.25 inches about. It's a long bracelet. Some people need a longer one, some people need a shorter one. So let's go ahead and we'll add this long orange one. Although I think I'd rather put that one kind of in the middle. I don't really want to put two long ones next to each other. So maybe I won't use that one in this bracelet. I like to have a lot of purple, but then I don't have any orange. See, I try to balance it. I really only have one true orange bead, but I don't want to put the same one 3 times. So I do have this orange and black swirl. Now that would be a good one too. Then what you do is once you kind of figure out what you want, you just simply start hooking them. And you're just going to open one bead. Just going to crack it open and hook the first one onto that. Okay, I didn't open that good enough. Hold on. Now I will warn you, sometimes, not every time, obviously I wouldn't do this, but sometimes the head pins will crack when you open them. Now you could do jump rings in between, but it's just kind of extra step, and I don't personally like the look of it. But if you do, you can absolutely put a jump ring between each bead. It'll make it longer with less charms, but you'd have to use kind of a small one because you'd have basically one of these. I just said basically twice. Look at that. You would have two. I mean, it just adds to the, see what I'm saying? Like if you have that, and then you hook that to it, and that to it, that's the look you're going to have. You might love that. And it actually does look nice. But why I don't like using jump rings is sometimes they open up, although those are pretty heavy, and then the beads will fall off. So you just got to be careful. So whatever way you decide to do it, there's no, I always say this to you, there's no right or wrong. If you want to do jump rings, maybe I'll do another bracelet and we'll do jump rings and I'll show you how that looks. So maybe, in fact, we will do that. The next bracelet I make will be for fall, and we will do the jump rings. That way you can see what a jump ring looks like in the bracelet. There's fuzz, I think it's off my beading mat. Sometimes you have to reclose the loop a little bit. And you might wonder why I go to the trouble to loop them all the way before I'm just going to open them again. And I'll tell you why. And I've said this before. It seems to keep the shape better. It's really hard to shape your loop when you have a wire in it. So it's actually a better way to do it. I see I moved them all around. I don't like the idea of the pumpkin and that. They're too cartoony. So I'm going to put this one first. And then we'll put the... We're just going to keep hooking them, see? And you can change your mind as you go, but just kind of figure out what order you want them in. And I'm going to hook this. This is the easy part. If you make all your charms up at once, this is absolutely... Now this one isn't hooked all the way. I don't know why. Now that's two big ones next to each other. Oh, I think this one was supposed to go on there. I don't know, this might end up being as big as the other one. We'll see. Right now, I'm not worried about that as much as just showing you how to do this. I will warn you, sometimes they, see, this is not opened up enough. See how it's touching the side of the bead. Okay, there we go. See, it keeps turning around. This is a problem you do get sometimes with these things. There we go. You've got to be a little cagey with it and just chase it till you get your bead on there. And then you hook it in. The main thing is just make sure you get those closed really well. Okay. And then that's why it's fun to have a bunch made up, because you can change your mind. This is a really pretty bead. Now this one you can tell is got a black finish to it, so I probably wouldn't use it on here because it's got a silver finish. So I wouldn't do that. Do I have any black ones made up out of glass? I don't think I do. Oh geez, this has got a, I just broke the bracelet I made already. How funny. It's got a magnetic clasp on it. Let me tell you something about those magnetic clasps. They are amazing in that they will not come off very easy. Now, if you get a bad one, they will. But I have not had a bad one. And so test it. But most of them, they're pretty darn... Look at it. It's picking up the ruler. Can you see that? It is picking up the ruler. And they're so easy to clasp. Now, of course, it grabs every little bit of metal it can get itself attached to. Okay, that was kind of humorous. Anyway, so I've only got about that many beads on there. Here's a nice paper bead we could use. That'd be fun. I love paper beads. And if you've watched me for a while, you know that too. There's just something so fun about them. You know, that they're handmade. And sometimes they're made by people in other countries like Africa, the African women's beads. I've got some African beads that are absolutely stunning that were sold by a very good quality bead store because they are such high quality and they're just gorgeous. So let's see. What are we going to finish it off with? We got room for one more. And I could do another orange. A little black, but there's black on the end of that one. Or we could do this nice white one. That'd be something different. It's really a personal taste. You know, you might take the same beads and do a totally different bracelet than me. Because everybody... This is the worst part, is they move. There. And you want to hook it on the back. Kind of hang it down the back while you close it. So you don't drop it. Believe me, there's nothing more frustrating than having it on there and then you drop it. Okay. Now once you get your beads together, you got to decide on a clasp. And you've got never-ending things you can do for clasp. You've got all kinds of toggles. You've got lobster claw. But lately, these are my favorite. You can't even see them. They're all stuck together. But these are, here's a lobster claw. If you don't know what a lobster claw is, this is a lobster claw. That's not a silver one, though. These are magnetic. Can you tell? And they come in all different pretty designs. Here's a giant one for a big project. But these are sometimes not the strongest. These are pretty strong. That's what I put on my first bracelet. So if you hook these onto your bracelet, it's going to be real easy. Watch how easy this is to put on. You just do this, and you don't even have to do anything. I don't know if you saw that, but it just, oh, it hooked onto the other one. Oh my goodness, they're funny. Okay, here we go. I want to hook my necklace or my bracelet. There you go. So, I don't think it was in frame. I got this camera so low. But I just want you to see, for somebody that has trouble clasping things, these are fabulous. And yes, they can pull. If you catch this bracelet, it can pull off. And so if you have a job, But see, I'm pulling on it pretty, not with a ton of force, but I'm tugging it. See how I'm tugging it? And I have to pull pretty hard for that to come off. So unless you're doing something that is really rough, it should be okay. So I'm going to do the same one. I just leave it hooked. That works out well. And I simply open the end charms like I did when I hooked them together. You got to hook it a little bit wider sometimes because these have a pretty nice wide base, which I like, because once it's hooked on, because it's such a wide hoop, you have much less chance. That's going to, oh no, look what just happened. I hadn't tightened it down yet. The last thing I usually do, and I forgot to tell you that, I usually go through it and make sure all the loops are tight, and I did not do that. So always do that. I love it when these mistakes happen on camera though, because then I can tell you, hey, do this. Okay. So you want to make sure, even though you do your best to hook them well when you're doing it. Oh, it's on this side, right? You want to go back through your bracelet again. Oh, see, it broke. See, I told you that happens. Oh my goodness. So you know what we're going to do? We're just going to make it one charm smaller. I just want to show you how to put this together. But I don't mind when these things happen because I want you to see that that's a possibility. And that could be an argument for jump rings. Because jump rings, you just open the jump ring and put them in, right? So that could be an argument for using jump rings. So we will absolutely do a bracelet using jump rings to hook the beads on and see what you think of that. Because that's the only problem I sometimes have. Jump rings didn't use, or head pins didn't used to be so fragile. But as everything, things are not made like they used to be. And so I have found that sometimes they can break. Now make sure that you get that. See, it's, oh, see, another one broke. Look at that. This is a bad batch. That is frustrating. To be honest with you, that does not happen to me very often. In fact, I cannot remember the last time I had 2 jump rings in a row, or 2 beads in a row like that break. I made this first charm bracelet without a hitch. Not a single problem. I don't know if I used the same bag of, pins though. Well, we're just going to hook a couple more on. See, I don't mind when this stuff happens though, because it kind of shows you what can happen. So that honestly might be a definite argument for using the jump rings, huh? So we'll definitely, I'm going to plan another bracelet, and we're going to do that. All right, now let's try this. If it's a little short, let's see. We'll see. It might be too short. Let me put one more. So I really liked this one. I'm disappointed that that broke. But this is real life here. This is, I never ever stop the camera and reshoot unless I absolutely have to. Like, I messed up a couple times. I've been so far out of frame that it wasn't even funny. And then yes, I will reshoot a whole video. But when it's just a mistake happens, like something breaks, nope, I just show you how I fix it and what I do. And frankly, I'm really shocked. And I don't know what to say, because I've never once had that happen twice in a row. So let me hook that onto here, because I really like that bead a lot. That was a bead I really wanted to use. So we're going to pull that around. There. Now it's great when you hear that little click and you hear it go into the bead. Because if both ends are inside the bead, you have much less chance of anything coming apart. That's the only reason why I don't like doing this, because I cannot hook this into that little hole for that little tiny bead. So I just bend it back and bend it forward a few times, and just be careful not to break it, I guess. Okay, let's try this one more time. And you know, the other secret might be, don't open the side. Maybe that's a mistake I'm making. I shouldn't open the side that was on there. I should open the side I made. Okay. That's the only thing with the magnets. They will pick up anything and everything. Okay, now I'm going to put it to the back so it can't fall off while I'm hooking it. But it senses the metal of the pliers, and it likes them. Hold on. So there we go. Alright, and then if you keep it closed, just makes it all the easier to hook the other side on. So let me open the other side. But usually I just avoid jump rings because I've had too many of them open up over the years and things come undone. But in this case, I don't know. It's a very interesting question. Which way should you go? So there you go. Let's see if this one fits me. Perfect. Perfect, perfect. So the magnetic ones are really the way to go if you have trouble, like most of us do. I know for me, when I want to put a bracelet on, and I have a lobster claw or a toggle, it takes me some time to get that sucker on sometimes. So this, let me show you again. See? But it will grab onto any kind of metal. And I think it's hilarious. They stick to the ruler. Metal edge of the ruler. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed that. It's just, this is a fun way, again, to use up all those one-of-a-kind. There's so many times I take apart a necklace and it'll have, like, I'm not saying this one does, but let's say it'll have 2 of these. And it'll have 2 of these. And it'll have 4 of these. I made that up. But you get my drift. So you have all these individual beats. And yeah, you can make a pair of earrings out of some of them, but this is really fun because look at these 2 bracelets are completely different. And you could actually stack these and wear 2 or 3 of these, and that would be a lot of fun. You know, so anyway, and look at, they'll even hold together at the end. The magnets will hold together, but see, you got to make them the same size. So I could literally take off 1 bead. I'd probably have to take off this purple and put these 2 together. So anyway, well, thank you for watching, and I will be back very soon. I'm really pushing myself to get as many Halloween videos done for you as I can before the end of the month. Just to inspire you, to give you some ideas of things to make. And just, you know, sometimes I'll just sit there and make up charms like this, or I'll make up charms. I don't see the rest of my little charms, but I'll make up this kind of charm. I just had a whole bunch of them sitting here. That's hilarious. I don't know where they went. But anyway, I'll either make charms that are flat on the bottom. This one actually is one of these. But I'll make charms that are flat on the bottom, or, oh, here's one. I'll make up charms like this. That's a beautiful one. Can you see that bead? I'll either make up these, or oh, here they are. They're over here. I have a whole bunch. I'll either make these up and put them in a little jar, or I'll make these up. And you can even put them into boxes, you know, buy these divided boxes, and you could do Halloween charms, Christmas charms, spring charms, you know, St. Patrick's Day charms. Just over the year, make up these charms, and then when you're ready to create jewelry for that time of the year, you've got all these cute little charms, either charms or linked beads, to make up all kinds of fun stuff. And if you take a piece of jewelry apart that has a bunch of these on it, don't cut them off. I used to take them out. No. Now I put them in my stuff like this, because if I ever need it as a bead, it's just as easy to clip that little loop off. But when I need a looped bead, here it is. You know, because you can do anything with these. So anyway, you know, so just having a bunch of these cute little charms on hand is a fun thing to do, and they're fun to make. And when you end up with a pile of beads out like I have here, it's better to have a bunch of charms made up, and then I'll take all the Halloween beads I have together, and I will put them in a bag together and store them. They won't go back in a box. I'm not going to sit here, take a pile of beads like this and sort them. No. They'll all go in a bag, in a gallon bag, and I'm going to have a box to put Halloween, 4th of July, or patriotic holidays, Christmas, spring, fall. They'll all go in their own 1-gallon bags, and I can add to them through the year. And then that way, every year I have a nice big bonanza. Like here's one. You could use this as a charm, or you could take those 3 pieces off and have 3 wonderful beaded charms for a bracelet. So many options when you have jewelry to take apart. But thank you for watching, and I will be back hopefully tomorrow, but within a day or two. Bye.